Who here likes startups? Show of hands. All right, great. Who here is working on a startup, has their own, or works for a startup? Awesome. That's just the one. All right, so I'm going to do one more of these. Who here knows what multi-touch is? Who here knows what asynchronous groupware is? Who knows what visual management is? All right. Who knows what putting Post-its up on a wall for brainstorming, collaboration, and seeing all your ideas up at the same time is? Has everyone here done that? Okay. That's what we're trying to do in the browser, and we started out through building large-scale giant multi-touch screens. 2009, my co-founder Rick and I had just gotten done taking the bar exam. I made the mistake of going to law school and then practicing law for a bit, but we started out building giant touchscreens in our basement because we didn't have garages in our neighborhood. And from there, we just used it as a way to take the technology, figure out what we could do with it, and understand how we could get it out there. First one here, this is what happens when you run out of money trying to build an 8-foot touch wall, but you have the hardware left over. We said, all right, what can we do with this? We built an interactive pool table by suspending projectors from the ceiling. It would project an image down onto it, and then it'll kind of go into showing the evolution to some of what we did after, including a couple giant touch walls. So it makes it look like the balls were moving through water there. We had this up at McLaren's. This is where we met our third, Eric. He came on. And this is Post-its on a giant touch wall. We built that 8-foot touch wall and then the 60-inch touchscreen there. And then this is sort of where we really thought about what we could do with touchscreens in a large-scale use and started building multi-touch applications to run on them for interactive directories, installations like that, to really focus on the multi-user element of touchscreens. And from there, we started talking to companies that said this would be really good to use for our visual management process, which sort of takes us to today. We applied 11:45 before the midnight deadline for Dream Adventures Philly 2014 with our idea for using this large-scale multi-touch and collaborative web applications to allow any device to participate in one of these brainstorming sessions and really get the impact of a large-scale touchscreen through the browser. So there's a little sneak preview of that here and what our thesis is going into Dream It right back on the main page. There we go. No audio, but it's fine. So that's the computer that didn't work earlier with the HDMI. There's a giant touchscreen, and there's an iPad in our lead developer Tim's hand. And so that's all working in the browser completely in real time. And that's our collaborative web app. And that's what got us into Dream It, and where we're trying to sort of get ourselves away from the hardware. Let's just converge. So I'll be logged in on this one, and Rick has it over here. So really taking that brainstorming idea and translating it so it works in real time from any connected device entirely in the browser. No software to download, no plugins. It just runs 100% in the browser, and you'll see on a touchscreen it's full multi-touch in the browser. So when you have a large-scale tablet like this, it's running pretty near real time. It's about as close as we're going to be able to get without breaking the speed of light. But we're trying to get there.
Also works on any mobile device as well.
Yeah, since it's 100% in the browser, it'll run from any connected device capable of running a browser. We've got this sweet little hamburger menu here where we're going to be able to drag and drop video chat, WebRTC, and it's all JavaScript on the back end and front end. So this will run from any device without plugins. That's what we're in Dream It to do. What led up to getting there is a hell of a lot of hard work. And it's a long journey. And for most people, you can get in a room full of entrepreneurs, and they made a joke when I started law school, look to your left, look to your right. In 10 years' time, only one of you will be a lawyer. For entrepreneurs, it's look to your left, look to your right, look to the person behind you, look to the person in front of you, look to the person next to you, because 9 out of 10 companies will fail. We haven't made it. We're still, we're in Dream It. It's one of the most prestigious accelerators in the nation. We got some initial seed funding. We've got some customer interest. I believe we have an awesome product that we're ready to open up for beta. You're some of the first to actually see it in the wild. But there's still a long way to go. And I guess that's what I would really encourage everyone to think about is one of the most important elements of entrepreneurship, especially with a startup in the tech industry, is your success can be measured by all kinds of metrics, whether you're talking to customers, investors, mentors. The one that every successful startup will have is perseverance. There will be times when you're up against the wall and it looks like there's complete failure, which will be an option at all times. It's always right around the corner. I would say just power through it. There's no guarantee of success, but you only find out by continuing to do it. And every time we hit a hiccup, botched acquisition, the investment fund that offered to make an investment in us imploded the day before startup weekend when we started building this. Every hurdle that we've potentially had thrown at us, lawsuit, name it, it's all happened. But we're still here. We're still standing. And I would encourage anyone that, even when it looks dark, just keep at it. If you know that you have something that you need to bring out into the world, make it happen. It's the only way to do it. You can find the resources that you need. None of the three of us at MUNI are developers. We've designed this, we've built this. I've thrown up some stuff on the front end, but we're not back-end developers. We found some. How do you find back-end developers without being able to pay them salary? Creativity, convertible equity, finding people that were willing to work nights and weekends, finding someone that wasn't fully willing to take the commitment to become a full-time employee, but would still work on it as a side project. We've been able to scrap together as much of that as possible, and we're still here, and we're going to keep doing it. And that's the only way that that's the only way that we know how. I don't know what going back to work in a law office would look like at this point. I've gone too far into the abyss. We were able to envision a world where this kind of remote collaboration would be possible from any connected device. And that's not a touchscreen. Okay. But from any connected device. I have that problem. I touch screens that aren't touch screens. But we wanted to make it intuitive. Create a note, delete a note, change the color. Just have it all work naturally with as minimal design influence as possible, other than what's in the real world. So images, notes, video. Eventually, we want to make it simple. But to allow it to work from anywhere, we can now take a team that's completely remote and work from anywhere. We were able to work on the road from North Carolina last week, and I had the opportunity to sit on a beach in the most northernmost part of the Outer Banks, in a Jeep, on a beach with wild horses on it, take a conference call, communicate with the developers through this, and that's something that you will not find at any office building around here other than a startup or technology company. So find what kind of lifestyle you want to see yourself in and build it or join it. If anyone's interested in getting hands-on with a startup that's actively in it, we are seeking interns to join us up at Dream It, both remotely and up at the Coin Loft in Delaware. We're going to be in Wilmington every Thursday for sort of our Delaware day, and then Philly during the rest of the week, and then on the road as much as possible. But that's MUNI Tech. This is Converge. That's a brief part of the story, and I'll open it up to questions. And Rick and Eric are here as well for any questions. Who wants to draw first blood?
So how did you guys all converge together as a team on this? Did you guys think of this idea yourself and I'm sorry, the third guy?
Eric.
Yeah, Eric. And then you guys brought him in, or how did you guys all become a team on this?
Labor Day weekend 2009 was when Rick and I first started building our first large-scale touchscreen. So this was several months, but that's why it's the Who Knows multi-touch. When we started, no one knew what it was. I mean, the iPad was still 9 months out from being released. And I had gotten done taking the bar. Rick said, I've been holding off because I knew you were busy studying. I want to show you something. And in his living room, he had built out of wooden rods and lasers and a crude projection screen and a crappy Panasonic projector and a laptop and wires hanging everywhere with a webcam. But it was a touchscreen. And I saw on the laptop, he moved something there, and then he resized the image on the screen. I was like, oh, that's like a giant iPhone. That's amazing. I knew then that that's what I wanted to do. He was looking for someone that would take the plunge, because it's really hard to do any kind of startup venture on your own. You need to find people that are willing to throw in the hours with you. So right now, the largest companies in the world all use this kind of visual management, brainstorming, collaboration for particular processes. And they also have access to all the collaborative tools that you can think of, Pivotal Tracker, Asana, Basecamp, even OneNote, Evernote. They're still using Post-its on a wall. And there's a reason that the simplicity of it works really well. And the problem lies with remote teams and disparate work groups that can't all be collaborating at the same time on a project. Converge will allow them to do it in real time from any connected device. So whether it's a projector with a bunch of connected iPads moving notes around for a single session, or they're on a 10-foot touch wall and there's one person that can't join them because she's at the airport, but now she can connect from her iPad and still participate. That's really the end customer. This is value stream planning for a heavy manufacturer. They have users, their team members, months, different colors mean different things for the notes. So they find it important, and we'll continue to build on it for them. We have the hardware and the software that we can bundle, but we also want to open it up for much smaller teams. Right now it's up there, so anyone who wants to start using it, if you see value, please do. Please give us some feedback. We'll have eventually a free trial model, etc. But we want to find teams that are either met with collaboration challenges or that are outward facing, such as design firms that want to show a lot of visual information to their customers and save on travel expenses and meetings and things like that. Give them a meaningful way to go through a collaborative exercise, whether it's notes or images or videos for like a design layout or something. Show them this and give them the ability to outward face their customers and also get us that viral hook for enterprise, which is difficult to solve.
Did you work right out of school, or how did you get money to live before going into this startup?
I was practicing law for 2 years, almost 2.5 years, and Rick was project manager for an operations manager up at Phil Abundance in Philadelphia, and we were up in Philly every day. We'd come back home nights and weekends, just start building, and then we kept doing it on the side. But every waking hour that was not spent earning money towards this, the immediate expenses was going right back into the company.
Basically, we stopped going out to dinners, going on vacations, sold our vehicles, relied on our girlfriends and wives to kind of help pick up some of the slack where we weren't able to make it. The longer we started doing this, and the more we thought this could really be something, we started committing more and more of our resources and the resources of our families to doing it. But this is the entrepreneurial risk right? I mean, unless you're just insanely lucky and come up with like the cure for cancer in your backyard, you're gonna have to work to prove a business model. And at some point, about 2 years ago, we decided we can't do this part-time anymore. And that was the biggest risk of all, because before then, we were both kind of working, so we always had money. When we needed to buy something or whatever, we would just do it. But going full-time meant we had to quit our jobs. They were the only thing that was really bringing money in. But trying to build a business like this in nights and weekends just doesn't work. I mean, your customers, especially at the level that we're looking at, Fortune 500s, they're going to look at you and say, okay, you guys are two guys from a basement in Delaware. You're not even full-time at your own company, and you want us to spend whatever it's going to be on your product and commit what is essentially the heart of our product development process to your product. It doesn't pass the test. So we had to be committed before we could expect them to commit to us, and so that's what we've done.
Yeah, and part of it, we're doing a column in the newly launched Delaware Business Times that'll be coming out every 2 weeks, talking about our experiences in Dream It. And I opened it up with the first one of my favorite quote from Reid Hoffman is that building a company is like throwing yourself off a cliff and figuring out how to build an airplane on the way down. That's a very good analogy.
For those of us who have big ideas that could be technical, or we just don't have the skills to build it, but we want it to be done, what do you suggest for us where we're in the idea phase, we have a big technical idea, we're not coders, we're not engineers, but we have a vision? Like, do you have any advice for someone in that stage?
Yeah, I would say for sort of the MVP, lean startup, a lot of these things that you'll hear, there's many truths to be found in them. There's also a lot that can go wrong. Like, what happens if you build a really good wireframe and it looks great and you have a demoable product that looks like it works and does what it is purported to do, but you can't deliver it? That's what happened to us. We built everything out localized on the machines to show this collaboration that now works over the web to work on touchscreens that were networked. So when we were asked, like, okay, can we get a few of these? It was, all right, now we have to build several more, and we don't have a way to lightly deploy it, and we don't have any server on the back end. It was all local. So the communication wasn't there. Wireframes are great, but going out and talking to customers and saying, here's what I have, or here's what we're going to have. Say it's already done. Would you buy it? Or will you make a commitment now to help me find people to build it? We were able to find our developers because we had enough of the wireframe built out to show, like, here's what it looks like on a giant touchscreen. This is what we want to build. Now we want to build it in the browser. We were able to find developers that said, okay, you've talked to customers and you've built out enough of a prototype and you have people that want it. That's something that's worth investing my time in. I don't think we would have been able to do it if we had approached them and said, hey, so we got this idea for visual management and it's going to really change the way that enterprises work. So whatever you can do to either get a customer to commit or to show that you have enough skin in the game and a roadmap to get something built, I think we'll get you the resources to do it if you can't do it yourself. I'd also recommend everyone just learn HTML, CSS, JavaScript, even if it's just the Code Academy courses, just to get a familiarity with it and be able to throw up something yourself. You'll never be a rock star developer just jumping into one of those courses, but having done it means that I can communicate with our team better, because I understand what Node is and what Angular is and how it works now. That coming out of law school, I had no idea. I knew that I wanted to do it, but where do I start? There's resources out there. I'd grab as many of them as you can.
Yeah, I kind of want to piggyback on what John was saying here too. See, neither he or I are programmers. So we started out doing hardware, but even starting hardware, I wasn't really a computer engineer. I just taught myself what I needed to know in order to build something. When we got to the point where we knew we needed to bring a developer on, you have two choices. One is to bring on another technical co-founder, and you're going to expect to carve out an equal or very large percentage of your company to that person, which may or may not be a bad thing. The other is that you're going to have to go out and find a developer. There is no good developer who really wants to work for free. All right, they know what they're worth, and so you have to convince them to invest their time. In our case, we offered equity in exchange for the hours of coding, but they're going to evaluate you the same way that somebody who's giving money is going to evaluate you as an investor or as a potential investment. Is the project cool? Does it have potential? Is this something that if I put my time and effort into it, is it going to get sold? Am I going to get money on the back end? Right? So you're going to have to answer all the questions for your developers if you go that route that you would to an investor, but on top of it, it has to be cool. Because no developer wants to work on something boring, right? Nobody wants to work on the next, I don't know, whatever, like a CRM or something, right?
Unless it's
In our
cool,
case, we
so
were lucky, it was like, here's something cool, it's never been done, we don't even know if it could be done. That's the challenge, and so that's kind of what we did.
And yeah, I'll say that one of the things like building it, Node, Angular, backend, browser, very cutting edge stuff, that this is what happens though. Like, there's full multi-touch right in the browser, and we don't know exactly how it happened yet, but it's there. And that's what happens when you can throw some cool cutting edge web technology. And our attorneys would like us to figure out why it does that, because it might be something we can lock down. Who cares? But yeah, if you work on the cutting edge and you have very cool technology that people can work with, and that's the roadmap, you'll find a lot of people are enthusiastic to join that kind of project. Yes.
Building off of getting technical help, was he out of college? Was he working? Was he freelancing?
Well, we had a couple near misses that they could have joined, but they stuck with it and then back out or other problems. Our partner that joined is still working full time. Our CTO, he is 15-year industry experience now and is in charge of engineering over at his company. We want to hire him, but his company pays him a lot of money. So we have him by the grace of his spare time and his wife's understanding. But you'll find him all walks of life and at all stages. But a lot of the teams in Dream It are right out of school. Several are very seasoned vets, and others are ones that said, I don't like this corporate thing. I don't want to build a database for whatever it is. I want to go build my own, and they started doing it. But there's plenty of different stories. We just found ours through friends and our own network here in Wilmington, or in Delaware, but which is hard to do.
How'd you get seed funding?
Dream It was our first seed funding.
Okay.
I mean, we had one of our we had friends and family around, kind of, but it was very, very small. It was just with a couple friends that said, we've done well in life, and that's really cool stuff you're working on. Can we get involved? It's like, coincidentally, we really would like some money right now, so yes. But yeah, we've presented to everyone. Prior to getting into Dream It, we didn't get many callbacks. We've gotten a lot of no's. Things have changed substantially since we were accepted into Dream It, which is part of the reason why we went into the program. Was we believed for ourselves that what we were working on was bigger than the program, and that we would have a long success afterwards, and that we wanted to convince them that we were the right company to back, and they did. And now that's opened up a lot of doors that we didn't have available. But look wherever you can find them, because there's a lot of you'll find a lot of people that will take meetings, but few that write checks. Find the people that write checks, and the first question, I would have saved myself so much time if our first question to any prospective investor was give me references to 3 of your portfolio companies or point to 3 of your successful exits or portfolio companies that you currently have under management. If you can't talk to their founders, or you can't see their exits, or you can't look at companies that you can talk to today, just move on. It's a waste of time.
What do you think your next steps are going to treatment and after that?
I think we went in there to do 3 things. Prove our business model, find our first set of beta customers, and really nail down our sales and marketing strategy. There's kind of 2 paths that you can go down. You can be an outside sales force. You go, you knock on doors, you fly out, you have meetings with the CIO. That's tough. That's like the old style of software sales. Then there's purely inbound, SEO, SEM. I get inbound leads. We do some content marketing. People go to the site, they check it out, they like it, they put the credit card in. It's kind of a self-service, automated. I go to sleep with one number in my bank account, and I wake up with another number. It's higher. That's kind of what you want to get to. So we're kind of in that transition stage with our sales and marketing, because we're that outside sales, flying out, talking to people. As far as the business model goes, that's tough, because we feel that this has application in so many areas that we can't go after all of them, so we have to really narrow it down to a super hyper-focused. These are the specific clients that we want to go after. This is a specific narrow market. This is the specific problem that we want to solve. Solve it well, and then build from there. And then, finding those customers. The number one reason to be in Dream It is access to that network. These guys are all industry vets. They've worked for all the Fortune 500s. Their Rolodexes are insane. And when we show them stuff like this, and it's like, oh my God, this guy I know would love it, this guy I know. And so they give you those warm introductions so that I'm not cold calling,
Yeah, we've been paired with 3 really good mentors, and then the Dream It partners themselves. The CEO, she's phenomenally connected and very receptive to everyone in the program. Their fund manager, we met with her 2 Fridays ago, and it's like, yeah, we're looking for early stage funding. We've opened up a convertible note round, and we would like to raise going into, but before demo day, so we can make a couple hires, and then this is what we want to raise on demo day. And she was like, okay, here's my list. This is who you should talk to. Gave us all the names, and it's like, yeah, I know so-and-so here, so-and-so here, and that was, it's like, wow, I spent a lot of time trying to find all those firms and who to talk to at all of them. I wish I had been able to just talk to you a couple years ago, but here we are. So it's really great, and I think that you'll find that whether it's in an accelerator program or just in a general entrepreneurial community, operators and other founders, employees, those that are in the hustle, they will help. And feel free to reach out directly. I have cards and stickers, beta access, all that. Anyone who wants to talk afterwards, I know some of you have class to get to and lunch and whatnot, but we can stick around, happy to talk to anyone after. But feel free, reach out, LinkedIn, follow us on Twitter at Converge. We spelled it funny because we have to. But I'm available. Like as a blue hen, feel free to reach out anytime. I'm happy to talk. And that's part of the code going forward, is that do it for someone else down the road. Like if there's someone that's starting a project or wants to know where to start, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the help that we've received from so many people, and that we just pay it forward. And if you continue to do that, that's how you start a real ecosystem.
Thank you, John.